This is part 4 in a series called The Real Bible Codes. We encourage you to watch the previous 3 videos as well for some astounding revelations from God's Word. The Hebrew language is among the oldest upon the earth. From ancient of days, the Hebrew scholars have assigned pictographic and ideographic meanings to each of the 22 Hebrew letters. An ideogram is an idea represented by the letter, and a pictogram is the picture that represents that idea. Each of the Hebrew letters have fascinating correlations to each other and to word meanings and scriptural illumination by examining their ideographic and pictographic meanings. Following is an example of one of these marvelous correlations and revelations. The first letter of the Hebrew alphabet is the Aleph. The last and the 22nd letter of the Hebrew alphabet is the Taw. Interestingly, Jesus refers to himself as the first and the last, or the beginning and the end, several times each in the book of Revelation. If Jesus used the Hebrew letters to represent this idea, he would have said something like, "I am the Aleph and the Taw." The pictogram for the Aleph is a bull's head. Its ideogram or meaning is that of strength, and particularly a strong leader, and most specifically, it is often used to represent God himself, who of course is the first and the strongest of any and all leaders. The King of Kings and Lord of Lords is the idea represented, if you will, the Aleph. The 22nd and last letter of the Hebrew alphabet is the Taw. Its ideographic meaning is ownership or covenant, or specifically a sign or a mark. It also means to join two things together. The ancient Hebrew word for sign is Oth. It begins with the first letter of the Hebrew, Aleph, and it ends with the last letter of the Hebrew, Taw. In between these two letters is just one more letter, the Wa, or Vav. Aleph, Wa, Ta. The ideogram for the Aleph is God. The ideogram for the Wa is nail. The ideogram for the Ta is a sign or a covenant. Unbelievable yet true, the ancient pictogram for the Ta is the sign of 2 cross sticks in the shape of all things, a cross. Aleph, Wa, Ta, the Hebrew letters that make up the Hebrew word for the sign. And so according to the ideograms and pictograms of this word, what is the sign? The sign from God is God nailed to a cross. This is God's sign to the world of his love, mercy, and forgiveness. Amazingly, the first time that the Hebrew word for sign is used in the Bible is found in Genesis chapter 9, verse 12. And God said, after the flood of Noah, "This is the sign of the covenant I am making between me and you, and every living creature with you, a covenant for all generations to come." Between God and man, this covenant would be made. This would be represented by a straight line from heaven to earth. But also between God and us and every other living creature with us upon the earth. This would be represented by a horizontal line encompassing all of the earth, forming again a cross. The sign, the covenant, Aleph, Wa, Ta, the sign, God nailed to a cross, his sign to the world in Jesus Christ.